You've said before that every thought that's ever been thought still exists.
Yeah. Because everything is a state of becoming, and every relationship is eternal, and every vibration is vibrating, and because of law of attraction, every vibration is expanding. Nothing ceases to be.
Yeah, yes. And when I hear that, then I think about that in the manifested.
When we say there's no regression, which means you can't fall back from the furthest place that you've expanded to, that's true of every vibration. No vibration ever becomes less. Every vibration continues to become more, which only serves to create this more perfect environment of potential from which to choose. That's why you want to be a deliberate creator, able to focus your thoughts in the direction that you want, so that you can choose from this plethora of possibilities that which your inner being is in agreement with, which is the positive energy of all of it.
Okay, and that's where I was next.
Yeah.
So my inner being hears, resonates with, knows my pure positive desire.
And only that. When you focus upon what you don't want, your inner being does not. Because every subject is two subjects. There's two ends of the stick. So when you focus upon what you don't want, there's another end of the stick that lights up, which is where your inner being gives attention.
Yeah, so that's the part. So inner being source is only pure positive desire.
Doesn't have access to any vibrational frequency that is less than what it is.
Okay, that deviates.
So when you give birth to a desire that resonates with your inner being, that's where your inner being is, and your inner being never looks back. So your inner being never spends any time justifying your desire.
So every thought that's ever been thought still exists, and this is...
But that doesn't mean inner beings are thinking them.
Oh, okay. So...
Because, a thought thinks itself.
Yeah, how
a thought
does that?
And a vibration and a frequency and an energy, these are all similar words. But when humans think of thoughts, you think of thinkers. So then you think, well, who's thinking these thoughts? And those negative thoughts are being thought and perpetuated by humans who are still in that I know what I don't want phase.
Part of, in your teachings, is as I withdraw attention.
By giving your attention to something else.
So I'm...
Because no one can withdraw attention, because you can't cease to think. I'm not going to think about that. I'm not going to think about that. I'm not going to think about that. I'm not going to think about that thing I'm thinking about. I'm not going to think about that thing I'm thinking about. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to think about it. The whole time you're not thinking about that thing you're not thinking about, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But you're not thinking about it, but you're not thinking about it. You're thinking about it, but you're not. You don't think you're thinking about it, but you're thinking about it because you can't stop thinking about it. As long as you're focused upon it, you're thinking about it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I can distract myself and with shift attention, activate a different vibration.
It's interesting, even the word distraction, feel how distraction means not thinking about that. Where attraction or attention, so rather than distraction, I want to give my attention. Now we're talking about all those thinking things. Let's just switch it up just a little bit. And instead of thinking about what we're thinking about, let's start thinking about what we're feeling. So if you let the distraction be, I want to feel good. I want to feel good. I want to feel good. It's an easier switch because your inner being is thinking about what you want to think about. And it doesn't take very much of you thinking about how good it would feel to think about what you want to think about to hook in to what your inner being's thinking about, and then you're off and running.
Yeah. So there's something there that knowing that intention, that wanted, and it's feeling my way into that feeling.
There's two sides to every equation. There's unwanted and wanted. And every time a subject comes up, it really is like a long stick with both ends on it. And when you step into a situation, your somewhere along the spectrum of that stick, from all the way not wanted to all the way wanted and something in between. So when you hold knowledge that this is just a vibration, like a musical scale almost, and that you could pick any note that you want to, and that your inner being has already picked the note, and you just think about what that note sounds like or what that note feels like, then instead of sorting it out any further, if you understand that you've already sorted it out and you've already launched the rocket and your inner being has already got hold of it, and now your work is simple, just feel your way to it. Then before you know it, you're in alignment with your inner being, and the progression of that positive thought then starts flowing into your mind. That's why we call it the receiving mode. For a while we were saying to you, so you've created this vortex, and now you got to get in it. You got to get in there. And you didn't really like the idea of that. We wrote 2 books about it, trying to convince you that if you would just get in there, that you'd feel so much better. But it felt odd to you. How do I get into something I can't even see? We said, feel your way in. Oh, thanks a lot, Abraham. That's really helpful. But we wanted you to understand the concept of it. And so then we came to helping you to realize that there's a vibrational frequency there that is full of ideas and full of a path to everything you want, full of impulses and ideas and paths and rendezvous and the exhilaration of life, that anything you want can manifest right before your eyes with you right in on every step of it, which is just the way you like it. But that you've got to be in the receiving mode, which means you've got to be in the vibrational vicinity of what's in your vortex, which means since your vortex is a very high frequency because there's no resistance within it, you've got to allow your own vibration to rise. And when you do, then what's in your vortex flows into your mind, ideas and impulses. And once you get into that mode where an idea flows and you follow it and you see the payoff, so you understand that what you did was you quieted your mind enough that you allowed your vibration to rise, because when you were not perpetuating a lower vibration, then a higher vibration just took over, because that's what's natural. Just like when you let go of the cork, it will float. When you let go of your vibration, it will rise. And then when you start receiving ideas, then you understand, that's the receiving mode. That's what it feels like to be in the receiving mode of my vortex. That's what it feels like to be in such concert with my inner being that in snatches of time, I know what my inner being knows. That's really what Esther demonstrates when she allows us to flow through her. She's demonstrating the receiving mode of being in such perfect sync with the vibration of Abraham that what we know in the moment of our knowing is her knowing. And it's so complete that she can find words that are as perfect as her vocabulary will allow them, and sequence of words that will convey to you what we mean.
So how does it go the rest of the way in that
the rest of the way
thoughts become things?
Oh, thoughts becoming things. Don't you just love that? That's why you're here.
I know.
You came here so that the thoughts that you find along your trail can evolve right before your eyes into the things that you prefer. But so often humans don't let the thoughts that are in their vortex evolve because you're too busy looking at the things you've already got, which are opposite of the things you want. So as you said, you want to distract yourself from the things you've got so that you can allow the things you want. Okay, things I've got. I don't want to think about you anymore. You think, I don't want to think about not enough money. I'm not going to think about not enough money anymore, because thinking about not enough money doesn't get me any more money, and I want more money, but I'm not going to think about not having enough money. But I don't have enough money, and most of the people I know don't have enough money. Hardly anybody has enough money. There's never been any money in my family. I'm doing it again. I don't have enough money. The bills come and it reminds me I don't have enough money, and I want to go somewhere and I can't go, and it reminds me I don't have enough money. So life keeps reminding me that I don't have enough money. So how am I supposed to think about having enough money when I don't have enough money? Well, you got to think about something else. You got to take money out of the equation for a little while, and that's not an easy thing in this environment where everything costs something. You just got to let the abundance flow to you. Well, how do you know you're doing it? You find snatches of feeling good. We're going to give you an analogy. You may have heard it before, and then we'll jump back into your question, because this is a really good conversation that we're having for everyone. and we'll find some resolution to what you're reaching for. So think about being on a hill. Esther thinks about the one in San Francisco, the mini in San Francisco, where she's at this hill and she can see this roller coaster of a road going down into the bay. So put your car at the top of that hill and take the car out of gear and take the brake off, and then give yourself a lesson in physics and push your car just a little bit to see what will happen. Just nudge it a little bit. Well, pretty quick, you become pretty aware of what's going to happen with your beautiful car. So usually you come to your senses before too much momentum happens, and you step out in front of your car and you let it bump up against you, and it stops because you caught it early. But you wouldn't want to be at the bottom of the bay, bottom of the hill, trying to stop that car. You wouldn't stop it. Your action would not be enough to stop that momentum. Same idea with thought. You want to catch them early. If you've been listening to us for a while, in the Ask and It Is Given book, there's an emotional scale. And the emotions go all the way from despair and depression all the way to ecstasy and love and appreciation and some of everything in between. And right in the center of that scale is a word that Esther translated from what we meant at the time. The word was contentment. Today we're using the word satisfaction. But it's right there in the middle of that scale. And satisfaction or contentment is the point along the emotional scale. So let's say that you are in depression or despair, and you release some resistance and you find revenge. Well, don't stay there because it'll get you put in jail. But revenge, you got to admit, feels better than despair. And anger feels better than revenge, and frustration feels better than anger. And in each of those movements up that emotional scale, you feel the feeling of relief because you're releasing resistance, and when you release resistance, you feel relief. But there comes a point where you move through the resistance into non-resistance, and that's right where satisfaction is. When you move into satisfaction, that's not so much relief from resistance. That's where this fulcrum tip that we're talking about happens. That's where you're no longer feeling the release of resistance. You are in the flow of allowing. Can you follow that? And once you get into non-resistance, now the law of attraction and your inner being and all of those cooperative components that are in your vibrational reality will call you, as they already are. They've been calling you up the emotional scale too. But once you cross into non-resistance, now it begins to flow so much faster. And that's when the thoughts of what you want begin turning to things. Until you cross that point, the thoughts of what you don't want are turning to things. Your thoughts are turning to things all around you all the time. But you have more control than most of you exercise about whether it's thoughts that you want turning into things or thoughts that you don't want, because you are a pointer, and where you point is where you go. Jerry learned that with Esther in the monster bus. They're wailing down the highway, big monster bus. It weighed 60,000 pounds. It was 45 feet long. They towed a car behind it, and Jerry would say, "Oh, look at the rainbow," and Esther would start going that way. He learned pretty quick, only point at things that are dead ahead, because you tend to sort of drift in the direction that you're looking. And so?
Yeah. So it's from some formless vibrational place.
What do you mean? Let's not devalue the power of the vortex that creates worlds, some formless. Because calling it formless sounds a little lackful to someone who wants to turn thoughts to things. I've got this formless thing that I want to turn into something that's a form. Well, good luck with that.
It's the essence.
This is nebulous mist of nothingness. No, it isn't. It's powerful thought that's energized by law of attraction, and your inner being is wrapped all around it, and it's already come a long way, and it's ripe and ready for you to begin to be inspired by its beingness, by its becomingness, and you get to watch it become and become and become and become and become and become and become.